Surprise! I was supposed to be shooting a video. I'm like, man, I don't have my thoughts together for that crap. I'm gonna hang out with you guys. So we're hanging out. Welcome. You all showed up. Thank you so much. I see Tim Hayes, James Salzberg, Jesse Hughes, Nerd Rage, and Joe DeBecky. Welcome, one and all. It is good to see you. And as more people come in, we will say hello to them as well. So I hope you guys are having a tremendous weekend. I'm having a good weekend myself. And I was about to get stuff out to do the video, and I glanced over at a couple of the figures that are still over there, and I said, I don't. There's some stuff I've just never shown that I have. So I decided to show the stuff that I haven't shown in one form or another, like officially, aside from like a rando live stream or something I might like this Godzilla mini set, for example. I just was like, hey, look at this, isn't that cool? And I just kind of threw it off the thing. I've never mentioned that I got this little lady here, a a wasp. Got her for a really good price. I don't know how. Got her for $9 on Amazon from Amazon. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Whoa. Hello, Scott Hughes. And Jesse does say, while you're saying hello, why don't you all say hello with the like button? And Jimmy Seltzer's like, I did. It's good. Leave me alone. I get it. Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. I believe this is the first comment I've ever highlighted from you. Might even be the first time that you're here. Hi, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And she in 1-to-1 scale, pretty cool. Yeah, but for the price, I couldn't say no. And I really like the character. I like the films, so it was like, no brainer at that price. And I also picked up an Endgame Captain America about a month ago. And he's just been sitting there, and it's easily the best representation of the post World War II uniform with a decent head sculpt that I've seen. And it was like, that's easy enough. Let's get that. So I did. And this is a regular old original Stratos from Motu Origins. Mine is in the bubble, or rather out of the bubble. This one is for someone else. And I was like, well, he's boxed. Let's show him off. And of course, by now, most of you are very familiar with my Battlefield Warriors because I just love showing this off. And the real thing is that I put a bunch of toys into a new bin today. And this doesn't fit in the bins that I have. So, and last but not least, there was a video I did on Entertainment Earth vis-a-vis the Castle Grayskull thing. And this was the Iron Man that I got from them, the Mark III. And you can see how the box has been pretty severely damaged in transit right there. Like, it's not just a dent, there's a rip right there. I was very disappointed in what occurred. I mean, it's not completely destroyed, but when you have boxes this nice, you want to try to keep them, nice. But the figure is great. He's great. That's Tony Stark and all his stuff. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Can't complain. Can't complain. So that's what's back here. That's what's back here. We're talking about what you guys are doing out there. So, Scott Hughes says, do I have a Shogun Warrior Godzilla from the 70s? I do not. And if I found one in good shape, I probably would not say no to it. I just haven't come across one since then. I used to play with one as a kid. It wasn't mine, it was my cousin's. But I loved the thing and just never got around to getting one. Joe DeBecky says, can't go wrong with Captain America. You are correct. Jesse Hughes says, Oliver Harper just released a good Captain America retrospective for anyone looking to watch after the stream. Yes, Oliver Harper is amazing. And if you all know the story, Oliver Harper is, in a way, how I came to find all of you. Because it was during a video I was doing research for, and the wasp is reflecting light badly. Let's move her up a little bit. And perfect. I was doing research for a video I was doing with Order 42. And Retro Blessing came up, and it was because of that random thing that you now all are here. Because without finding Rectoblasting, I wouldn't have really dove into the toy thing, wouldn't have been participating in the chat at Iconicon, and none of this would happen. So Oliver Harper is very much worth your time. Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures asks, how is your superpowers collection coming, Jim? Really, really good. Really good, in fact. I don't mind saying that aside from one mail away figure, I have either in hand or on its way in the post every single figure from Series 1 and Series 2, as well as all of the vehicles from Series 1 and Series 2. And that's more or less where I am stopping. I have the odd part here and there to source, not too many, but it's really good. Really good. So I've got some work to do restoring a couple of them. I've got to get their legs kind of moving properly. So I might need to upgrade certain ones. You never know. But it's there, and there are videos coming about all of those things. Um, you know, so it's a good thing. And James Salzberg knows exactly what I'm talking about. He says, I may have an extra Clark, and I think I know where. You don't say, because that just happens to be the figure that I know I don't have. Now, there is one figure that's coming from Rich, the guy that sold me the Hall of Justice, that kind of kicked a lot of this off. I don't know what that is. So, Mr. Salzberg, I will keep in touch with you to let you know. Because there's no reason for me to have two Clark Kents if that's the one he's sending. He wouldn't tell me. He knows exactly what I needed, and he sent me something. And because I didn't know, and I had a really good deal on the other few figures I had left, I took the chance. Right, I took the chance. And thank you, Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. I appreciate that. So, Jim Logan's like, "What's up, y'all?" That's Guatemalan for hi. Yes, Joe Becky Stratos is an OG fave. He's great, 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 great figure. I love him to death. Yes, I believe that is true, Tim Hayes. Michael Fritz did do some work with Oliver Harper at some point. Nerd Rage says, I blame you and Analog Toys for getting me into G.I. Joe Classified and pre-ordering some Action Force Valorverse. I will say this. You can blame me for the Action Force Valorverse stuff in part with Analog Toys. Well, I'm not going to hear none of this GI Joe Classified stuff from you. You understand me? I don't push that junk on nobody. I don't push no junk. Mama don't make bad stuff. But if you're enjoying it, it doesn't matter. I hope you're enjoying it. Jason Spalsberg says, I loved it when Steve became Nomad during the original US Agent run. Yes. I love that whole story arc for certain. Ba, 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 ba. Rare Fantastic Toy Adventure says, I completed my Superpowers collection last year, and now I am hooked on Origins. I mean, aren't we all? It's a great line, man. That's a great line. Salzburg says, I'm going to check while you're on. It's nearby. Sweet. That's awesome, dude. Thank you. Metal Neanderthal. Hello, Jim. My Mezco 112 Frazetta Conan finally shipped. It's a figure I've been waiting for a long time. Jim Largo is also waiting for a 112 Conan, and we're hoping that it ships for him soon as well. Bjorn Jorgen says, did I miss anything? You missed me, you big goof. I'm right here. It's good to see you, buddy. Bop, 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 bop. And Bjorn Jorgensen says, I blame Jim for getting me into Motu. That I'll take credit for because I talk a lot about Motu. I tell you what. It's just a thing. Jesse Hughes, Epic Factor, says, I'm enjoying taking classified figures, turning them into other Joe figures. Yes. I think there's certainly there's potential in that line, but it kind of sucks that you have to do things to them to make them more fun. Nerd Raid says, well, it's more the Valaverse it's more the Valaverse is misright, but classified is miss right now. I am patient. Okay, so it sounds like you're really wanting that Series 1 Valaverse, so the classified is kind of scratching that itch. Salzburg says, "Do you have a black Batman and Captain Ray?" Oh, to Amazing Toys. Okay. The only two you don't have. So the black Batman from like the Toy Biz release, or the one? Which one? They didn't do a superpowers release of the all black Batman, did they? I don't think they did. They made some with the mold and put it out as part of the movie tie-in stuff, and eventually part of the Dark Knight line, which I'm going to break into some of that too. Tim Hayes says, "I don't get why YouTube chat rooms go blank when I try to see list participants in the chat. I don't know either, sir." In Brazil, okay. Oh yeah, I don't get into the international variants at all. Like not even a little bit. I don't mess with that trash at all. But I get it. I definitely get why people would do that. I'm not that guy, especially after seeing this cat that had every international every destro ever released in every variant ever loose in a like a big plexi case. It was kind of crazy, pretty crazy. Scott Hughes says, "I had Godzilla toy as a kid. Had a lever in the back. When you pressed it, flywheel turned against cigarette lighter, sparks shot out of his mouth." Yes, I don't know if that was an actual Godzilla toy or if it was a knockoff. I know that um, the Black Star figures had that. The original run didn't, but then they put it in the second series, and then they reissued the old ones with those two. And I've probably said this on the stream before, but what's really crazy to me is that the original Series 1 without the lighter are more rare, but the Series 2 and 3 ones that have that of the same figure, mind you, are more expensive because that feature is more desired. It's kind of crazy to think about. Like not everything's like super super amigos. I got you, Jim Salzberg. Bjorn Jorgensen says, "I think my favorite Mo2 Mecha Constructs vehicle is the Roton. It is a pretty cool little toy." You have no idea what happened to your Sparky Godzilla? Yeah, those tend to go away. No go on Clark in this box. Okay, that's okay. But hey, I appreciate you looking all the same. Everybody says the Mattel Godzilla had a vanilla flame that shot out like a tongue. Now that's the one that was that they greenlit because of the Hanna-Barbera show, right? Right? That would have been 79, I think. I don't know. Metal Neanderthal says, "A few of the classifieds came out okay. Cobra Commando and Destro picked up. I want Serpentor, but I know they'll never do one." Yeah, I don't get that. I looked at Destro, I looked at Cobra Commander, but I just can't. I can't do it. Because I'm not gonna collect the whole line and et cetera, et cetera. But to those that want them, they're definitely not the worst thing in the world. Microchine military vehicles and a 12-inch Godzilla made for great childhood playtime. No shit. That's a good point, Jesse Hughes. Appreciate that. The Shogun Warriors one. Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. Retro Blasting's Roton song makes you laugh. Me too, man. That shit's funny. Love the song. I get you. I get you. I know that vowels are hard. You know, I have my He-Man and Skeletor posed in a certain way. I was going to take an Instagram picture today, and I didn't have the other thing I needed. Every time I had it, I drank it. So it's a full cup of coffee. And He-Man's all back like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump in the coffee." And he's like, "Don't do it." You know, I just haven't taken that picture. I just look over at him. They're right there. So that's a video that's coming up actually, where I'm going to take all of the pictures that I've been posting on Instagram of He-Man and Skeletor and other characters, and I'm going to actually take all the stuff that I've written that they're saying and voice act it out for you, and just make a long video of that stuff. And I want to see how it does, because if it does well, I want to make a series of these characters doing stuff. What does my hat say? It says Suffocation, which is a New York-based death metal band from the early '90s that's still around today. Jim Largo says it's all fun and game until you start collecting Mezco. Very expensive rabbit hole and lots of delays for licensed characters. Mm-hmm. 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 Sure appreciate you guys. It sounds like sure appreciate you guys being here. I'm having fun already. Metal in the NFL says, "Did you ever mess with Motu figures from Mondo Gym? They look great, but not my price range." I have not. And when it comes to Motu figures, with the exception of the two Masterverse figures that Sue's picked up one day on a lark, it was with no influence for me. I'm only doing Origins at this time, with the exception of some vintage vehicles that I'm 99% sure they're not going to come out with. And I haven't really taken the impetus on those, even though I've seen some pretty good deals, mainly because with something like that, I prefer to see it in person if I can. And with us going to a convention locally next week, well, appearing because I'm doing a panel, I want to see if anyone has anything there, and then if anyone has anything I can pick up, I will pick it up. Otherwise, I'll start looking in earnest pretty soon on that stuff. Because the other thing stopping me was like, I need more bins because I can always stack boxes so high, you know. So now we have a third and a fourth bin. Right now, the third bin's full of boxed toys. Almost sound like I said bok choy, but it's not full of bok choy. That would be really gross. And then I have a fourth bin, which right now is hanging onto some remnants from the live stream on Friday. We've separated all the stuff that he doesn't want me to ship versus stuff that he does want me to ship. And there's some decent stuff in there that is just not worth shipping, even though it's in pretty decent shape because it's just too heavy. So we're going to hang on to some of that and see if what he wants to do with that later. And we've talked about some other possibilities too. So you never know what's going to happen. Jesse Hughes says, "Your shirt makes me want to play Donkey Kong Country." Yes, it's from Retropalooza. And every year they do a different theme on the t shirts. I have a bunch of them. I haven't been to but two of them technically. So, yeah. Gordon Jorgen says, "I'll send that figure this week." What figure? What are you talking about? Discord it to me if you don't want to say it in chat, so we can keep it a surprise for anyone who doesn't know. Because I'm right over my head. James Salzberg says, "Always good to be on a panel since you often get early access to the sales floor." Yes. Well, I also know the guys and gals that run the fest, and it was them that I was in the. It's the Game Chasers, and I was in their movie, so I get friend access anyway. But I like appearing on panels and stuff, so we're gonna do that with the movie. We're gonna go on Friday and help set up and do some things and hang out and do all the things, and then yeah, we'll have first dibs with everybody else. So I just have to make sure to take it easy on Friday night so that I can make it early on Saturday to look at stuff. In particular, OK Chief's booth because he has a lot of toys, modern, vintage, the whole gamut. In fact, although it's not this Stratos, the first Origins figure I ever bought was Stratos and was from him, which is the picture it's circulating the internets right now. Then, okay, yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, the Eternals. Yeah, I got you. Thank you. I forgot. I'll be like, the fuck is, because Sue's she's not here. I'm pointing to her like she's here, but she's not. She's at work, which is that way, that direction, not that direction. That it's north. Okay. Oh, what? What? Huh? What? Huh? What? All right. So in the description, it says that we talk about toys we don't normally talk about. So that's really what I want to do. Just sit and hang and talk about stuff and things. Um, there's a bunch of toys that I know that I kind of want, but I'm not after. You know, um, there's certainly some toys that someone came to me with a bin and said, "Here, $10." I'd be like, "Oh." Like Star Wars, for example. And I was like, I'm not gonna dive into the toys just yet. Um, but I started looking at the mini comics just to get the mini comics because I loved those as a kid. I'm looking at those. Bjorn Jorgensen says I repped it as best I could. Basically, no foam or bubble wrap my area moment. Yeah, no worries, man. I appreciate it. James Helsmer says I used to take my Starsky to Reno to show so people could take photos in it. I never charged. That's awesome, man. And it looks like our friend Weird Fantastic, just based upon his picture, went into my Discord, which is fine. I just want to make sure that that's you before I go any further. Because you might notice, sir, that you're in a bit of a holding pattern. Because I make sure that everyone. Okay, he says it's me. All right, cool, 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 cool. I'm gonna go ahead and get you out of the holding pattern and into the real place. So there you go. You are now a member, and you can see everything. That's really cool. Because when the Discord server started, it was Twitch focused because that's where I was spending most of my time. And there's a lot of people that will target Discord servers, so we just make sure to, you know, we want to make sure that we're keeping people that need, sequestered and stuff like that. No worries, man. Mr. Home Alone 81 says, glad to join chat. Have you seen the new updated Motu Origins list? Mantenna, Whiplash, and King Randor. I have not seen that. If I haven't, is this like a leaked list or is it official somewhere else? I don't trust leaks. I trust you, but I don't trust leaks. That's just a thing for me. But that's awesome. If we're getting King Randor, I'll do something different with my extra Prince Adam then. Scott Hughes says, I never had Star Wars, but I had the entire Zoids Wave 1 that was precursor to Star Wars. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, Mr. Home Alone 81 says it is leaked. Okay. No, I don't pay attention to that stuff, but if they do a King Randor, that is huge. That's awesome. I really want one. Nerd Rage says I recently found and restored a Mattel Major Matt Mason. Speaking of off the beaten path. That King Randor, King Random, he's a big deal. Well, the thing is, Randor and random to me kind of mean like the same thing, which I'm totally cool with. Like it's fine. Just kicked your phone across the floor. Why would you do that, Bjorn Jorgensen? Why would you kick your phone across the floor? What'd your phone do to you? No worries, Tim. Kicking the phone, kicking the phone, kicking the phone. That's the thing. Ha ha. Jim Largo says a little Guatemalan Gallo told me you should check your mailbox Tuesday or Wednesday. Just saying. Okay. Okay. All right. We can do that. We can do that. And thank you in advance to your Guatemalan Gallo, whatever that means. Gallo. Was walking and my cat jumped in front of me. I know how that goes. I can see the cat right there, staring me down like, why are the bright lights on? Who are you talking to? And where is my mother? She's just like, I don't like you. Jessica says, I'll be listening, but AFK while I work on baking. No problem. Carbs are fun. Carbs are fun. Jim Salzberg says, and tomorrow if you didn't go yet. I didn't, but Suze went on her way to work. So anything that was there as of around noon today, I'll be receiving in about 3 hours or so. And I'll have to find a place to stack it. Because I ain't doing no damn unboxing video at no fucking 10:30 at night. That ain't happening. But my work schedule was pretty lax tomorrow, so I'll probably be able to do it during the day. I have a certification I need to do for work, and it shouldn't take too long. So you have cinco gatos, and they plot. All cats plot against humans. That's just a thing, man. That's a thing. I'm just looking around. Oh, For those of you that are not on my Patreon, look what Jim Largo sent me, among other things. But look at this. Isn't this cute? Look at him. I love him. You squeeze him. I don't call him George, though. It's very cute. I love him to death. And he sits right here at my desk and stares at me all day, just staring, being cool. So among the things I keep at my desk, a little kitty in a frog suit. That was some random thing from like a cat box that Suze gets. I don't know. It's cute though. She got these little tiny Jurassic Park little toys, about this big, like little baby, like chibi raptors. Like, ah! I have one of them. I have the Buddhazilla from Nerd Rage. That's always going to have a place on my desk. Although I think I want to get some kind of a base for him, like a heavier base, and like glue him. Might even paint him a little bit. I don't know, but he's always going to be on my desk as long as I have a desk. I love that thing to death. And then I have my vintage Skeletor and He-Man just hanging out, along with the Matchbox Wind Raider that Bjorn Jorgensen sent. I love all of these toys so much. Locked on the Discord? What do you mean? If you, let me double check your roll here. You should be able to, hang on. Let me look. I'll fix you up. No, you've got access to everything you should have access to. There's some channels that are locked because you're not a member of like the gaming clan or anything like that. But your role has been updated. You have access to everything you should. There are some channels that are locked though. And if it's not showing up, log out, log back in, you should be good. Especially if you're on a browser. Ah, ba 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 ba. Your Nugget says I put in a Landshark to go with the Wind Raider. Really? Thank you. I've been looking for that actually. Thank you. That's awesome. What's gonna go on the desk? I love the Land Shark, and seeing it as a tiny little matchbox going to be great, pretty cool. It's gonna be good. Call him Pete. I might just call him Tiger. I should call him Tiger, huh? Hey, Tiger. Yep, he answered to that. It's good. Cool. We'll call him Tiger. That's what we'll do. Jim Salzberg says, I had a Spider-Man stuffy as a kid, his head lolled back, and like he was drunk and loving like, Gallo is rooster in Spanish, also the name of a local cheap beer. That makes sense. All those cock jokes you were making a couple days ago. Now it all makes sense. It all makes sense. So, Melanie asked me what my take is on the new 3 3/4 inch scale retro Marvel figures. He thinks they look good and are better priced than Super 7's retro line. I would agree with your latter statement. However, my take on them is that they are completely unnecessary. Unless you are really wanting 3 3/4 inch Marvel figures, and even then, with just having the 5 POA, I'm like, yeah, I don't. It's not for me. Because as a kid, and even going into the the Toy Biz line, I always felt like Marvel figures got the shaft in terms of detail and articulation. And I see no reason to go backwards there for me. And the Marvel Legends, most of the time, gets it pretty well nailed. Would I like to see that level of detail and articulation in 3 3/4? You bet I would. But we're never going to see that, not from them. And so the Marvel Legends is what we have. So I dive right into them. Dive right into them. Thanks for sparking the memory of the Land Shark. Yeah, the Origins Land Shark is just tons of fun. When I pulled it out of the box on stream, actually, it was the big unboxing videos. It was the first time I ever held one in my hand ever, and I just rolled them across. Like, I love that thing. I can't wait. Can't wait. John got them for me on my birthday number 5. That's awesome. He's like, "Kid, give me the Land Shark." That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad that you have some good memories like that. Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot. And if Mary Jane talked to me with that voice, I would have questions. Just saying, Shamarda. Mr. Hughes says, "Did you see the new Robocalls?" Oh, okay. You want to open a can of worms? Okay, okay. No, Spidey. Oh, okay. That's even better. That's great, man. So, Mr. Hughes says, "Did you see that new Robo Skull toy that will have a swappable chair? It can hold two 1/18 scale figures, or you can switch it out for a 1/12 scale figure." Yes, I've seen it. Damn it, I've seen it, and I don't like it at all. No, you're not getting my money. Not getting my money with that Robo Skull at all. It's not happening. Um, and there's a few reasons for that. The teasers that they put out um, were lackluster and made claims that didn't seem to have any backup to them. Their website is a barren wasteland. Doesn't link to the Kickstarter, which seems like duh. If you're going to pay for a domain, you should at least link to the Kickstarter, because the Kickstarter links to the website, but there's not anything on the freaking website. Okay, so it's like, why even have it then? Um, they talk about having Bob Breakin on their design team. I've seen no official word featuring him or from him regarding that, so that's a red flag. Um, all of the mock-ups that I've seen are digital. There's no proof that there's a physical prototype in effect. So their Kickstarter is supposed to be for tooling fees and things like that. And their delivery is a year and 3 months from now, something like that. A year and 6 months, like 18 months or something like that. And I don't. It's like Bjorn Jorgensen is saying. It's just something about it that seems off. And in fact, I hope Bjorn doesn't mind me saying this. Hi, Rez. Good to see you. But he was the one that tipped me off to this even existing, and I started doing research on it, and I talked about it with a bunch of people. And granted, I had formed my opinion, but I'm not the only person. There's a bunch of people that are just not. Granted, this is community members. I'm not talking about like big content creators or anything like that. Don't get that impression at all. I'm just saying, like, the folks that have come to me with it in the community of ours. Um, uh, we're all a little uneasy about it because it just doesn't. It really seems too good to be true. Um, Supposedly the people that run the Marauders are like endorsing it in some fashion or like helping with certain design elements or something. And I haven't seen or heard anything from those cats about it. That doesn't mean it's not there. I'm just saying I haven't heard or seen it, so it's a little. It seems off, and I'm not into it. Ian Sweeney says, "All that new Robo Skull has achieved for me is to make me want the original Action Force vehicle more." You know what? I'm with you on that. Absolutely. Absolutely. James Salzberg says, "I saw Robo Skull. Probably not going to get it. Been burned by too many aggressive promises." I'm with you on that too, bud. Well, I wouldn't make that assumption, Jim. I wouldn't make that assumption necessarily. It they claim he was on the design team for it. I haven't seen any sort of they're making lots of claims with really nothing to back it up but Photoshop pictures from what I can see, and that's not cool. That's not cool to me. Jim Largo says, "I was tempted by the RoboSkull Mark II, but decided to put my money into future Valorverse Action Force Waves instead. I think that's a sound investment, Jim." James Helsberg says, "Supposedly Marauders is making the pilots." Yeah. And if that's the case, I would love to know why we haven't heard a lot from them. Nerd Rage is echoing most of us when saying, "I hope I am wrong, but the Roboskull looks too good to be true." I agree with that. I think that's the thing that looks a little weird, um, especially for the price they're selling it for, because all of these things combined, right? In fact, the website is threadbare. Uh, the social media promotion has been nil. It's been pretty much nothing. It's been really just lackluster, to be honest. And the claims they're making not being verified, things like that. So it means that they're either hiding something or trying to perpetuate something that's not true, or that everything they're saying is true, but they've got really, really shitty business sense, which tells me that the pricing that they're estimating to need for tooling and how much each unit will cost is probably because that toy, looking at it, that's probably closer with the amount of run that they're probably going to need to do. That's still a $300 or $400 toy for the smaller run line that they're going to need to do to be able to break even on their tooling costs and everything else. Um, unless they intend to go to retail with it and actually put it on store shelves with, if you can't run a damn website or do social media, how the fuck do you think you're going to make it into retail with that shit? Um, I'm just saying. Pure Norkin says, "I finally get around the finishing grind hand Judd cartoon. Looking forward to seeing it. Looking forward to seeing it, pal." James Hartsman said, Bob and Tony are close. I'm sure Bob would have told Tony to be working on it. I don't want to get into that because just for the simple fact that it's not my business who's talking to who, number one. And two, even if that were so, one way or the other, like, take Tony out of the equation. Analog Toys doesn't exist, right? Um, for the sake of this discussion right now, let's say Analog Toys doesn't exist. Bob Breakin should say something publicly, or they should have some kind of a quote from him on the thing, and they don't. That bothers me. Even if, like, because between him and Tony, like, yeah, I guess it would be fair to say would probably talk about it, but that's something that we're not touching. And I appreciate the acknowledgement on that, James. Should be like 350 at low production, right? And if they're selling them all at 250, they're taking a gigantic loss. You know what I mean? I understand if you want to sell the first batch at cost, more or less, incorporating your tooling costs into that. But if they're doing that, it should still be like 350. Cost for the vehicle itself, with tooling costs not in that factor, would probably be around 250 with a low thing and so forth. So, um, weird, fantastic toy adventures. To answer your question in Discord, I am not monetized on YouTube. We don't do super chats per se because of that, but there's a pinned link. I'll take you to streamlabs.com to throw a tip that will appear here on the old Streamiverse here, and I will certainly read it as well. Plus, I have a little ticker that goes off and tells me that stuff. It's not perfect, it's not the same, but they take no fees from you, and they take no fees from me. So if you tip, $2, I get $2. You tip $5, I get $5, and so forth. So there is, there's uh, certainly a degree of benefit there, but we are on the way to getting the channel monetized, and we will be enabling that for you guys as time goes on. Because I know some folks just really like their super chats, and they're totally welcome, not expected ever. Nothing is. I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you watch. But yeah, we're not monetized just yet. But with you guys if you guys keep on watching the way that you have, probably by the end of the year, if the view count stays as high as it is right now, or goes higher, which of course we hope, that we hope that there's growth. So um, never why I do that. I've never done YouTube specifically to make money. Twitch I'm monetized on, and yes, I make some money there, but not very much at all. It basically, Twitch pays for my Destiny habit. I play a video game called Destiny, and I make just enough to pay for that, and that's good enough for me. And anything that we would make from the Patreon, which Jesse Hughes very kindly linked in chat, thank you, pal, anything we make from Patreon, anything we make from YouTube, if and when it does become monetized, it'll go into the channel. Um, that sort of thing. It'll never go to like paying my bills or anything like that because I have a day job that I'm very happy with. Jim Largo was enjoying my joy. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Ian Sweeney asks, "Do you feel there's a future for 3 3/4 inch figures beyond TVC?" I'm not sure what TVC means, but um, I think that with what people have come to expect in the 6 inch figures in terms of articulation and sculpting, unless they could get that level of detail and that level of quality and posability and really double down into a line, I don't see 3 3/4 being anything. Star Wars Vintage Collection. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. No, I don't think that it'll happen. I really don't, because with the current crop of 3 3/4 figures that are out there, they're all trying to ape the old Star Wars model when no one freaking wants that. So, at least not that I know of. I would want my articulation and to have a lot of fun. I gotta be honest, if you gave me a fully articulated, high quality 3 3/4 Marvel Legends line, I'd scrap all these 6 inch figures that I have. You know, if they were a gift, I'd give them back to people that gave them to me. If I bought them, I'd sell them, and I'd go full 3 3/4 because I think for the scale it makes more sense. But I don't think it's going to happen. To answer your question, I wish it would, um, but it's the whole thing. Oh, Jesse Hughes says achievement unlocked. Unlocked doubter topic on the stream talking about the Robo Skull. Yeah, yeah, I get you. Rez says, "I'd be very surprised if it had me in there." Well, I appreciate your optimism, Rez. I really do. Scott Hughes says, "Here's a bit of the quality of the Greyhead Jim channel. In the short time you have been around, you have more subscribers than fans of Power have been on for a long time." Lucid. Well, to be fair, Scott, to be fair, and I'm going to hide your thing because I don't want to throw any shade at people. Um, Around the time I've been doing this YouTube channel since 2013. All right, started off as a mainly video gaming channel, did news reviews, that sort of a thing, and then I started getting into gaming on Twitch, and then between those two, we kind of slowly bumped it up, got close to 1,000, then got a little over 1,000. I don't know, a couple years ago or something like that, like 2 years ago, and it just kind of stayed. Gain a few, lose a few, gain a few, lose a few, gain a few, and it's staying right at 1,000, like right in there. Um, since then, and then when I started back up doing the toy thing, yeah, I've shot up. I've shot up, um, coming up on 1,200 subscribers. So we've gained over 100 and almost 100, almost 150 since Iconicon. So I hope that that's reflective of the quality. Um, I don't want to make an assumption about any other channel's quality or anything like that, but I think that it all depends upon your format and what you're doing. 'Cause let's be honest, Scott, a big portion of my success in the short time since Iconicon has been due to the generosity of time and investment from other channels. Okay, so Retro Blasting, Analog Toys, 2 Cents Toys, All Things 80s, Toy Polloi, um, Chasing 80s Toys. The list goes on of all the Reclaimers Vintage. The even passive endorsement that those channels have given me boost visibility. They'll share it on social sometimes. They'll share it on their YouTube community pages, stuff like that, or they themselves have shown up uh, to be on a show or have asked me to be on one of their shows. I think that's been the biggest piece of the success here. If the quality that you see on the channel backs that up, I'm very happy. I'm trying to continue to boost that, but I don't have any illusions that that people are sticking around just because of my videos. I think there's a contingency of people that are like, well, who's he going to have on next? Because I think there are some people that they like my interview style, but maybe they don't like me a ton, but they like the way I interview. And when I have somebody on, they want to watch that. Like we're having Chris Miwa on tomorrow, stuff like that. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, of course, because I have this desk and this folding table and a blue screen, and I'm doing this thing. Anyone could do what I do. I just do my best to bring my perspective to subjects that other people have also touched, because I don't feel there's a lot of new ground that can be broken when it comes to content creation surrounding physical items or video games. Oh, thank you, Weird Fantastic Toys, for the $5. Really appreciate that. Appreciate you. Very, very, very kind and very generous. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Um, but yeah, it's something where if I sat here and said this is all my doing, it would be an utter and complete lie. But I'm glad that you see the quality. I'm glad that you're enjoying it, because that's what's important to me. Because you know, I could just record my own thoughts and listen to them if I really wanted to. But the fact is, I want to share my perspective and hope someone gets something out of it. And the fact that people are, um, that's that's the best. That's the best feeling in all honesty. To get back around to the 3 3/4 inch, Jim Largo says, I think companies like Joy Toy will keep 3 3/4 inch alive because of details of vehicles, mech, etc. I'd say I agree with that. But in terms of mainstream toys, I don't think we're going much further. I would like to be wrong about that. Um, Jesse, too kind, man. James Salzberg says Star Wars Vintage Collection is highly articulated, but they break. There was a 4-inch superhero Marvel Legends, but it did not sell. That does not surprise me. Metal Neanderthal says, I'm old school. I feel a lot of modern action figure collectors put too much emphasis on articulation. It's great as long as it works. A lot of QC issues, a lot of lines. I don't disagree with you, but I feel that QC problems are rampant in almost every toy line out there. There's even some QC with Marvel, or rather Motu Origins. They're small and they're piddly, but they're there. An example, um, raise your hand if you've ever gotten a Motu Origins figure with what I call the Coke hand, where it's all like mashed together. It's almost every single figure. They're packed in there so tight, the hand is just like deformed. And then you have the weapons that are wrapped so tight in these bags and then slapped to the back of the bubble. The bubble. And it warps the accessories right in the package. So QC, I think, is something that's rampant across the entire industry. Um, but I also agree that in some cases, people are a bit too focused on articulation. I'm not asking for like full blown crazy Marvel Legends articulation on 3 3/4. I would like at least GI Joe level of articulation instead of, hey, look at me, I have these arms, I'm a robot, but I'm painted red. You know what I'm saying? That's where my head's at. I see where you're coming from, and I'm totally down, but I think there's more to it than that from my perspective. Okay. Nerd Rage says those new Star Wars 3 3/4 inch were like $22, while the new He-Man kids were like $10. How the hell can they justify that? I agree. It's pure scalpy stuff. Whereas Origins retails at 15, and you can routinely get it for 10 to 12 if you are patient and go to the right store. Jim Largo is saying good point. Articulation like for toy photography, but QC issues do persist. Need to find happy medium. I agree. Mobile Recluse says, came across your channel recently and really enjoying the content and engagement. Well, I'm enjoying your joy. Thank you so much for being here, and appreciate you hopping in to say that. That's very kind. Helps me feel better about shirking work to do this. Because, like the title says, I was going to record a video, but I was like, nah, I want to hang out with you guys. So this works. This works. And Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. That will go entirely. Well, see, with Streamlab tips, because I get the whole thing, I feel like, well, whatever. In all honesty, it's going to go to either beer, or it's going to go towards my kitty fund for the Retropalooza event next weekend for toys and stuff. But thank you all the same. Ian Sweeney says the only real Star Wars toy line is the Mission Fleet series, Vintage series, Black series, or collectibles. Amazing good looking stuff, but still collectibles. I wouldn't disagree with that. Jesse Hughes sharing the link to the Chris Meanwhile stream tomorrow. Appreciate that. Jesse Hughes says, for all the new faces out here tonight, are you having a good time? Click that like button. We have more good times together. That is correct. Thank you so much. He says, dunk it in, the Motu hands. Yeah, dunk it in hot water. They straighten right out. I've done that, and they still kind of have the, so I'll try it, though. I'll try it again. Everybody says, I like the DC Infinite 3 3/4 line. Pretty good articulation, but less crazy than most. Fair enough. Rez says, all the likes. I agree, Rez. And Tim Hayes says, I think Hasbro will have to fix their distribution and quality control issues to make the vintage collection 3 3/4 inch lines a success. I agree with that, and I also think they just need to lower the price. You can't tell me they're not making enough, right? So to me, I think that they just got to lower the price, man. I saw them in person I didn't even know they were a thing, and this would have been like March of last year, so like March of 2020. A buddy takes me into a store. All they sell, floor to ceiling, side to side, wall to wall, top to bottom, back to front, is Star Wars stuff. Vintage, new, memorabilia, T-shirts, bumper stickers, hentai dolls. No, they don't have hentai dolls, but they had the retro collection on the wall. And I was like, I looked at the price and I'm like, do you guys have a markup on these? They're like, no, that's the retail price. And I was like, what are you out of your fucking mind? He's like, hey, we agree, but we can't sell them any cheaper without losing money. I was like, not your fault. You didn't make them, but I put them back on the shelf. But I can tell you, if those were 10 a piece, 8 a piece, I'd have snatched up a bunch of them, and I would have gotten into toy collecting almost a year and a half earlier. But $20 a figure? Are you nuts? For like little, and that's a real word. It's dumb. It's dumb. Rez says, not toy related, but I had these back-to-back hacks in W Watch Dogs Legion last night. You've got to see once I upload. Yes, I need to see them. I still haven't touched that PvP, dude. I still haven't touched it. Ha ha ha. Weird Fantastic Toy Adventure still has most of their G.I. Joe vintage toys. That's awesome. We just went through a bunch of them on Friday. I don't remember if you were here or not, but if you weren't, check that out and watch it in at least 1.25 times speed because it runs a little slow. So save yourself some time, and it's a little funny in that speed too. Well, a lot of what, Bjorn, are going to end up Ollie's or Five Below, like the vintage line? If so, if you can get them super cheap, give me pictures. Let's see what they got, because I'm not uninterested in them. I'm just not interested in them at the price that they sell for. Jim Largo asks me, for someone new to classic Godzilla films, which one's the best to start with? Honestly, the original, the 54 Gojira. Watch the Japanese version with the subtitles, okay? Not the dubbing, but the subtitles. Watch the Japanese one, then watch the American one that has the dubbing, because you'll get a little bit more of the story, and some of that then leads into later lore, because both are kind of considered canon for different reasons. But the original Gojira from 54, start there. If you watch those two, and you're like, okay, I can see where we're going, then we'll talk. Because from there, I'd probably move to a with like some of the 90s stuff, probably, because the 70s stuff is good, but doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like the Showa era stuff, you have to be a super fan. The 90s stuff is are slightly more serious films, and then they culminate in Final Wars. Although there's 3 series. You got four. So the 90s ones would be good for getting more of the lore, but with more modern stuff. Then you have the 2000s era, which has way more monsters and stuff. So, but 54, the best one by far, by far, by far. Okay, so Tim Hayes says the new its collection Empire Strikes Back Lando was $23 at Walmart, and you passed. I wouldn't blame you. That's too much money. There are figures like this I wouldn't pay that much for, even though I love them. Start at the beginning, yeah, exactly. Metal Neanderthal. When you're out and about, what toys are usually checking pegs for besides Origins and Legends? Those are the two big ones, but I check everything. I look at the Star Wars stuff. I look at Motu. I certainly look at Marvel Legends, but I look at everything because you never know what you're going to find. You never know what's out there. I look at everything because not just because I'm always interested to find out what's going on, but I also know a lot of toy collectors like you guys, and I know some people are into some other stuff, and plus you never know what you can kit bash into something cool, right? Um, so I know it's kind of a cop out answer, but I look at pretty much literally everything, with the possible exception of Barbie. It's about the only stuff I don't really mess with. Once again, Godzilla King of Monsters, Gojira. Um, First hack was horrible. Other players told you suck. Rejoin their lobby to hack them other movements. So nice, nice. Dun 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. My old video on Gojira. Is that the one you're talking about? Thanks. Appreciate that. That's over on the That Ruled channel, I think. I think. Weird Fantastic Toy Adventure says first Godzilla movie I ever saw was Godzilla versus Megalon, late night TV, late 70s. Yep. That wasn't my first, but it was one of the first ones I had access to, like on VHS. I watched that one a ton. That and Godzilla 85, aka Godzilla Reborn. That's a you know what? Yeah, if you like Gojira 54, watch Godzilla 56. You like those? Go to Godzilla 85, aka Godzilla Reborn, Largo. That's what you want because that's a direct sequel to the first one and super doomy and shit. It's great. And then from there we can hop into some other stuff. That there you go. Mental SAC show all day long for me, but a group watching them. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. But for someone new to the series, I don't think those are the way to go. That's just my opinion, though. Bjorn Jorgensen says, "This is the first Godzilla movie I saw was a '90s one. That's not a Godzilla movie. That's a giant iguana film they tacked the name Godzilla onto. But I get it. I'm not blaming you." Bum, 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 bum. Oracle says Dorkside has the Palpatine wave when it was lucky they shipped fast. Oh, nice. James Helper said, look at toy lines I don't even collect and have a couple of Fortnite figures I thought were cool. You're the first person I've ever met that actually bought a Fortnite figure by choice. And that's not a criticism. I'm only saying I've never heard of anyone buying them, which just means, okay, they're selling some of them. Ooh, shit. Okay. What's the most expensive single figure you've ever purchased? Don't have to mention the amount. Pre-ordered executive replica Red Sonia. Uh, so are we talking vintage or are we talking retail? Like if it's like I feel like the retail price was the thing, you know what I mean? Or is it vintage? Because I think that's going to change my answer depending on how you look at it. Because there's stuff that I've paid for vintage that I would never pay for retail for new stuff. But it's a good question. I'll talk to you about it for sure. Da-da-da-da. Scott Hughes says Godzilla Megalon first VHS ever bought and not just rented. Yeah, it was cheap. You can get it for like $2 at Kmart. It's easy to come by. I just never bit down on it. Was King of Monsters one Raymond Burr? Yes, that's the 56 version. That's American. It's a different version. It's cut out some footage and then splices him in, and they tone down the nuclear aspects of Godzilla so that Americans wouldn't feel bad. So, because remember, this is like 10 years, less than 10 years after fucking World War II. So, strongly recommend you start with the Japanese version, then move to that. And I'm going to be honest, for the money, unless you can find the original streaming, just buy the Criterion Collection Blu-ray. Has both of them. Amazing picture, and it's a classic, absolute classic, and it's not expensive. It's like $20. It's like nothing for what it is. Nerd Rage says, question, would you give up the waist removable option or just bring back the old Power Punch? Heck no. 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 But if people want that, that's cool. I don't want it. 85 was awesome. Agreed. ESP says, to be honest, first Godzilla I ever saw was a cartoon, late 70s, early 80s theme tune. Yeah. I watched that a lot. In fact, when I was talking about playing with the Shoza or the Shogun Warriors Godzilla, I was playing with that while watching that in my cousin's, my aunt and uncle's living room. I remember that vividly. You wanted the Peely Fortnite figure? Fair enough. Didn't know Fortnite had toys? Yeah, it does make sense. Dun, dun, dun. Robot Chicken sets in the 2000s was hilarious. Yeah, definitely. Retail original price. Okay. So you think a single figure, huh? Because toy wise, retail in general, it'd be Castle Grayskull. All right, because that's a playset, this big and expensive stuff. Because I don't really go after I get really cagey about price tags. Ask Jim Largo. Like I'm like no, I'm not paying that for no freaking in terms of manufacturers, just retail price. Now I've spent a lot above retail for a current figure. Like I spent close to $40 for a trap jaw and close to $40 for no, I paid 30 for the Beastman, but that's double what he should be cost. And I don't mind saying it, like I don't care. So if we're looking at figures, it'd probably be one of the rare Motu Origins figures, and for overall toy, easily Castle Grayskull. I know that's a boring answer, because I haven't been collecting that much, you know. Tim Hayes, which movie? We're talking about Godzilla and Gojira, the original Toho Godzilla films. And Jim Largo wanted to know where to start, and that's what we're telling him. Jim Largo says, I have the Fortnite 6-inch wild cards and make good villains for Batman to punch. Huh, I'll have to look at those. Rez said, oh, the new Watch Dogs has connection problems and loading issues. Well, that's not going to be any fun. Bjorn says, not counting the giant iguana movie, which is the worst Godzilla film. I would say most folks who say that the Godzilla versus Megalodon is one of the worst because it reuses a shitload of footage and the story is not very coherent. But it's one of my favorites. So from a technical perspective, Godzilla versus Megalodon is pretty crap, but I had a great time with it. So I think it's Son of Godzilla, whichever the one is where Minya shows up and then a kid he dreamt the whole thing. That one's pretty lame. That was pretty lame, in my opinion. Yeah, I didn't like Godzuki either, Jim. I didn't like him either. Master Son is here. Good to see you, pal. Hope that your G.I. Joe swap meet went okay yesterday. I was excited to hear that you did that. And I think we've talked about this before, but I have a few beers now and again, so I forget things. I don't know if you're local to me or not. I'm in DFW. I'm in Arlington. So if you're in the area, I hope to see you at Retropalooza. So if you're just going and you want to say hi, it's like $15 to get in. It's like nothing. And I might have some Joe stuff with me. I don't know yet. To be cool. And thank you again for that very, very kind donation the other day, by the way. Thank you. Good man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Nerd Race has got to log out. Good night. Good night, sir. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. Love your face. Appreciate you, Nerd Rage. And if you're not subscribed to him, go check him out. He's got some cool discussions coming up when the certain grindhead may or may not be appearing in some of those in the future. So go check him out. James Helsberg says Godzilla vs. Biollante is rough. It is. It's a slow mover, but I love the concept, and it was the first 90s Godzilla Godzilla flick that I saw. So I have like a certain love for it because of that. But I agree, it's a slowly paced film and not the best. Not the best. Oh, Metal in the NFL. Let's get into the weeds. The Heisei stuff blew me away when I realized it existed many years later. Never showed up in the US as it was coming out. 84, 85 was the newest one I saw until late 90s. Yes. Yeah, Godzilla versus Biollante was on video shelves probably like 94, 95, but it was like 89, 90 when it came out. It was the only one we had for until like right around basically when Godzilla 2000 came out, and then that exploded on VHS and DVD. They went back and got licenses and started releasing those in the States, as I recall. But yeah, the Heisei stuff was really good. And I might be pronouncing it wrong. I'm sorry. That stuff was great. I love that stuff to death. I have a DVD set of those. I have a DVD set of the 2000 stuff. I have a bunch of the Blu-rays of the different 2000s. Like I have Final Wars, for example, and I have like one of the Gigan ones and Destroy All Monsters. I have yet to get the big book collection of the Showa era. I want to get it. It's one of those things where when it goes down in price, I'm not prioritizing it and shit. I don't know. I'll get around to it someday. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, you think it's a cross-gen multiplayer problem? I gotcha. Makes sense. Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures, WFTA, says, I bought an Origins Grayskull at Walmart, but prefer my original castle. See, that's the thing. I had the original castle, got it for Christmas one year, loved it as a kid. As an adult collector, I adore the Origins Castle Grayskull to death. I think it makes all the right changes. Like I never liked like the uneven kind of a thing was going on. I understand why it was there. I didn't like it. And I personally prefer the Origins one. Personally, I would love to have a vintage original, but I'm not going to pay the price because there's nothing in that castle that I can't get out of the Origins one that I really like. I might get some of the accessories. Might get some of the accessories from the old one that we don't have because they're kind of cool. They're not that expensive, I don't think. Son of Godzilla, yeah, I agree on the bad one. Yeah, yeah. Bjorn sent me a picture of like 4 Castle Grayskulls just on the shelf. I was like, yes. So it shows that Mattel's trying to get stuff out in the market, which is really good. This is great. You are in West Louisiana, 2.5 hours from DFW. That's not a far drive. It's not a far drive at all. Well, I will keep that up here for future reference, my friend. That's awesome. Bjorn Jorgensen says, since we're on the subject of monsters, what's my favorite Universal monster? Oh, I love this question. I love them all. I always had a kind of a thing for Creature from the Black Lagoon. I like the tragicness of the Frankenstein monster. Dracula is certainly a classic. I think the Mummy is kind of cool. It would have to be a toss up between the Wolfman and the Invisible Man. I like the Invisible Man the older I get because I can understand now how he might go absolutely freaking nuts, and I like the fear that places in me. But in terms of like a monster, gotta go with Wolfman for sure, for sure. Melvor says, "Just saw your Facebook message. It's pretty nice, right? It's not horrible. It's not horrible. And the most desirable stuff I put at the bottom. Like I piled it on purpose. You might take a look at it and be like, oh shit. I don't know, dude. So we'll get together soon and take a look at it. But I think if nothing else, you'll have a blast just looking through it. And don't worry, I have hand soap because you'll want to wash your hands because they're a little dusty. Metal NFL says the Arrow Blu-ray book is great. I have it, but it's a pain to store like an oversized coffee table book. Yes, that's part of the reason that I have not been in a mad rush to get it. What I would probably end up doing is getting Blu-ray cases or getting like a multi Blu-ray case to keep the actual movies in, and then recreate the artwork on an actual Blu-ray, uh, you know, slipcover, because I can make that stuff pretty easily with my printer and stuff. So that's probably what I would do, and then take the oversized coffee table book and put it on a bookshelf or display it, like a comic book or something. That's probably what I would do, honestly, because I like having easy access to my stuff, especially when they're in weird things like that. So I agree, 100%. Dun, 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 dun. I move. Okay. James Salzberg said, I just moved out of Pittsburgh by 82 when Star Blazers or Battle of the Planets was still on UHF. Yes, 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 yes. So in 82, we would have been in Ohio, North Ridgeville, Ohio, outside of Cleveland. And that was on TV. Star Blazers was on TV when I was there. And then when we moved to Newport News, Virginia, just after that, it was still on TV. So I was watching Star Blazers all the time. I love Star Blazers. You can get it on DVD and stuff, but I understand that some of the transfers are crap and like they edited it wrong and it's out of order and stuff. So I haven't been like really pushing for that either. But I loved those shows as a kid for sure. Bjorn's favorite is Creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, I like Creature from the Black Lagoon, but the version of that character I like the most is in the Monster Squad. That is my jam. Bum, 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 bum. Jim Stolzberg says Grayskull's in the back at my Target near the ride on cars. Yes, yes. Ours is the ones here. They keep them in the backpack, like they're not even on the shelf. They didn't want people to get them. Ian Sweeney says unrelated question, but I'm curious. I remember reading a cult TV magazine many years back, which referred to Scrappy Doo as having the most punchable face in cartoon history. Do I agree? Yes. Scrappy Doo has the most punchable face in television history. Scrappy Doo has the most punchable face in cartoon history. I'm just saying. I don't like that. Hate that character with a passion. Always getting the gang into trouble. Nah, not worth it. Hate that. Hate that character with a passion. Got some Frankenstein love over here. Hammer Films with Peter Cushing. I agree. Love me some Peter Cushing. But so I'm curious because I haven't actually looked on my replays yet. I have a browser plugin that turns websites dark for me because I don't like really bright screens. And for me, your chat pop-ups are dark. Is it dark on the stream too? I'm kind of curious. Weird Fantastic Toy Adventure says, Jim, have you ever seen the old Monster Scenes model kits from the 70s? I have seen them, but I've never seen one built. I've never seen one in person. Like, I've seen the boxes in person occasionally, but I've never seen one, like, just out. They always fascinated me, though, for sure. Jim Largo asks, oh, shit, sorry. What's next for the Nostalgia Tax discussion? It's coming down to a couple possible subjects. So I have a potential guest to talk about shipping and all of that stuff and how that works and what goes into it and stuff like that. I don't think that's going to be the next one. I think what the next one is going to be is talking about um, price itself, how one calculates what a fair price could be. There's a perception of what the fair price would be. $2, but that may not be feasible. So a fair market value price in terms of what the world perceives versus what you might want to pay, and then how you might come to get somewhere in the middle. So maybe we'll talk about haggling a little bit in that one too. I think that would be a good one to do. I think that would be a good one to do. Metal Neanderthal says, much I love Universal Monster films. I'm a James huge Hammer fan. I love Hammer to death. Great, great stuff. There's one that was called, forget the British name of the film, but in America it was called The Asphyx. It's cool. Like, it was this like little spirit thing that's inside of you, and at the moment of death, it escapes your body. It's like a soul, but not quite. But it escapes. You can capture it. This guy discovers the 1800s. You can capture it, and then once you capture it and lock it away, that person can never die, which is cool. And I don't want to spoil the movie for you, but it's just a great movie. I love that thing to death so much. Love it so much. Bum, 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 bum. Aw. He was like, I don't know. It's going to be good. The first part was pretty great. Thank you very much. Hammer Horror is awesome, dude. It's really good. Master Son. I'd rather punch Scott Tracker than Scrappy Doo. He was more trouble to mask than Venom. You're not wrong. You are not wrong, sir. You are not wrong. You're not wrong. Pop-ups look normal to you, so you're not seeing like dark. As in dark, what I mean is like the bottom bubble is black rather than being white. Rather than being white. Gaming Toy Boy says, also, hi. Says, anyone know the YouTuber Mark Fixes Stuff? I have heard that name. His house burnt down yesterday. His studio, all his gaming stuff gone. Oh my. That's awful. I'm glad he and his family are safe, but oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oof. Rez says, is it going to lean more into toy collecting as the series continues? Yeah, but we're always going to relate it to overall collecting because I think the majority of it can apply to anything you collect, whether it's physical games, toys, movies, what have you. So I think I'll touch on everything in it. It will always be like at least 60% toys, 40% the other stuff. The other stuff might get mentioned in passing. Um, yeah, just I definitely want to keep this all encompassing if I can. Dencom re-released a few. The model kits. Cool, 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 cool. No more says, "Do you ever see Mike Tyson's Mysteries like a hilariously crash second Scooby?" No, but I think I've heard of it. Yeah, you have to link me up with that stuff, buddy. That sounds good. That sounds good. Getting several folks saying the bubble is white. The bubble is white. All right, cool. Well, the white bubble's at. Thank you. Posted a pic of a Monster Scenes playing on Discord. Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. It's pretty neat stuff. Um, sorry to bring the moon down. No, 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 no. No, you're okay. Like we're all about real talk here, so you're good. I mean, the Colonel wouldn't, he wouldn't care. So why should I? With my Diet Coke. And the only reason I even got it is because they're like $5 off if you buy a Pepsi product. I'm like, it's like $1.50 drink. Like I will spend $1.50 to save another $3.50. Like, give me the Diet Coke. Give me the Diet Coke. It's totally fine. And now, in an effort to mess with people, I'm gonna move these things around a little bit. I'm gonna move these things around. That's what I'm gonna do. Mm-hmm. Wasp, you better get over there. You better get over there. I'll put him there, and I'll put him here. Screw everybody up. Haha, now it's different. Take that, YouTube. I don't know what that does. I just felt like doing it. I was looking at him. Let's move him around. I even put him over here. It accomplishes literally dick, but it's fun for me. Oh, hi, Grandpa Jorgensen. Hi. Good to see you, sir. Hope you're doing well. I appreciate that. I might bring it on later. James Salzberg says, I used to work at Franklin Mint, the 250 Monopoly sets. Proof anyone who loves property pays it. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, those are expensive freaking sets. And I remember seeing those when I was a kid, like on TV and stuff. I was like, man, that'd be really nice. I legitimately would have liked to have had one, but they're way too expensive. Jesse Hughes says, with YouTube's wacky decisions, moving those toys just broke the algorithm. I mean, I hope so. I really hope so. Like, you have a consistent image throughout the stream. I don't know why YouTube talks like that, but they do. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. I don't. I really don't. So, lightning round questions. Anyone can ask me a question. You cannot ask another one until I've answered one from everyone. So, or if no more are coming, I'll say, okay, we'll open it back up. So ask me one question, and then once I've gotten through everything that's been asked, we'll give it a countdown. And if no one else has asked, you can ask another one. Before we get into that, Ian Sweeney says Stratos, along with the new forthcoming sorceress for the origins figures, I was most looking forward to getting. Yeah, that new sorceress looks great. Your says, I believe some people make Monopoly sets with real money. Yeah. And Rez says, I bet that's exactly how YouTube works. I would agree. So, first lightning round question. Mentally NFL says, did you keep all your toys from when you were kids? Some of us didn't, unfortunately. I didn't keep a single toy from my childhood, and it wasn't because of me. Well, some of them were. So, everything up until Ninja Turtles, my folks got rid of without my permission or consulting me in any way. And then my Ninja Turtle stuff, I sold them off at a yard sale myself because I was trying to save up for some drum stuff, and I regret all of it, big time. Jesse Hughes says your YouTube voice sounds like World of Warcraft. I can't recreate it now. James Salzberg did keep his favorite toy when I was 10. Favorite toy when I was 10, so that would have been 87. Huh. What do you think? Probably Metroplex from the Transformers. Metroplex. Because I love that thing. But it would either be that or probably a Mask toy. Like I had the RV, whatever that's called, the RV from Mask. I really like that too. Weird Fantastic Toy Adventure says my daughter gave me one of those Monopoly sets for my birthday one time. Takes up too much space. Ugh. It sucks, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I talked to my mother about it later in life, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry about that." And looking back on it, like you have to understand my perspective. Like I understood your perspective. You needed to make space, but we could have talked about it. Jim Largo asks, "What's the airspeed velocity of unladen to swallow?" Is that European or African swallow? Ian Sweeney asks, classic toy line most in need of a reboot. Star Wars. Star Wars. Jesse Hughes asks, Halo battle rifle or DMR preferred medium range weapon? I'm going to go with battle rifle. Stupid ass weapon. Bjorn Jorgensen asks, what's the lamest superpower? Super tasting. Think Daredevil. Melvor asks, Omega Supreme and Force Maximus for you, 8710. We're around the same age, buddy. I didn't have those, so you and your freak aerodrome and shit. Just giving Melvor a hard time. I'm chomping at the bit to see him and everybody next weekend at the show, and maybe sooner if schedules permit. But I am definitely missing my boys for sure. Absolutely. So, okay. Everyone can ask another question if you want to. We'll go a few more minutes with another round of questions, and we'll wrap it up. Another round of questions, and then we'll wrap it up. And yeah, Melvor, I gotta empty that one bin so I can put all these toys in it. The only toys that I have that won't fit in the bin are Battlefield Warriors and a Castle Grayskull, and that's fine. I'm okay with that, but I gotta bin this stuff up. Tim Hay says, I don't know what to ask. You did ask me a question earlier, though. I answered it. Which movie? Sorry, Godzilla. Flocked or unflocked Panther? That's a tough one. Actually, not really. Flocked Panther for sure. I think his color scheme's a lot better. It looks better. Feels creepy, but looks way better. I have them both. And I want to play favorites, but Flock Panther is the one I'm going to display the most. There's a colonial theater near me where they filmed the original Blob Run Out plays Holy Grail each year. So you're up in PA. No, you're Jersey or whatever. Fuck, I don't remember. I think it's outside Philadelphia. That's awesome. Bjorn said, "Who would win in a fight between Han Solo and Indiana Jones?" Ooh, a fist fight, huh? Honestly, I'm going to go with Indiana Jones, and the reason I'm going to go with Indiana Jones: when is the last time you saw Han Solo punch anybody? The spleen from Mystery Men and Play Lame Superpower. Yep. Jim Largo asks, "What do you think of Marvel MCU versus classic comic book Marvel?" I think they are two distinctly different entities and both equally valid. I love them both. Um, as much as I would love to see comic accurate, 60s, 70s, 80s Marvel come to life on the screen, I don't think it would play very well to audiences. So I think the MCU kind of hits the sweet spot most of the time. Most of the time. Yes, I know that James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd from Cinemassacre, has done a couple features about that. Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Flocked Panther all day. Star Wars or Star Trek? I'm gonna say it depends upon my mood. To be honest with you, I love them both very, very much. But I will say that as I get older, I tend to like lean into Star Trek a little bit more. Um, not because of nostalgia or liking them more as a kid, but just because the older I get, the more I appreciate those. The more I appreciate that. So I didn't appreciate them as much as a kid. So maybe it's because didn't watch them as much as I watched Star Wars. So I would, if someone said you had to have one, put a gun to my head, I would say Star Trek, but it doesn't mean I don't absolutely adore Star Wars. That's where I'm at with that. Golden Pharaoh is lame superpower. Fair enough. Melvor asks, "What toy line did you want as a kid but never got?" Ooh, um, there's a couple. My brain immediately went to Inhumanoids because as a kid I really wanted those. I didn't even understand why I wanted them. I barely watched the cartoon. I just thought they looked neat. Um, but I don't really want them now. I've looked at them. I'm like, those are kind of lame, dude. So I don't want those anymore. But as a kid, I definitely wanted the humanoids. Um, I was. I hesitate to say I was a spoiled child because I don't feel that I was. My parents were both like, "No, you weren't spoiled. We just gave you what we could when we could." I had a lot of different toys, so I had a little bit from every toy line, but I very seldom had like a complete toy line of anything. Um, so in all honesty, I probably would have liked to branch out. Like I was one of those kids. I saw a commercial, I'm like, "Oh, that looks cool," and my folks are very good about, "Oh, this looks neat. Jim would probably love this." They liked it to keep my brain active because they knew I was a creative kid. And I needed, to be intellectually stimulated. So they wanted me a lot of different types of toys, which I understand. Um, so I think that the deeper answer might have been that I would have probably preferred to have a little bit less of some toy lines and have more of others. Like there was certainly some Motu stuff that I never got my hands on that I always wanted, like Snake Mountain and some of more of the villains too. Like they didn't like getting me villains. I'm like, who is it? Who are these guys supposed to fight? Are they supposed to have like a freaking ice cream social or some shit? Like, what are you doing? Um, I would say, man, something I didn't have that I really wanted as a kid because Inhumanoids were like later too, so it doesn't really count. Shit, Mulvor, that's a tough one. I'm gonna come back around to that. That's a good question, dude. Panther or Battle Cat? Battle Cat. Uh, that's a good answer. Shogun Warriors. Am I going to see the new Dune movie? Nope. Might watch it on HBO Max, and it would be something only I would watch unless Suze really wants to, but she hasn't said anything about it. We did watch Halloween Kills a couple nights ago. If you're into horror at all, and if you like Halloween at all, I strongly recommend you go back and watch the 2018 one because it was pretty good. But this new one, holy hell, that's a good movie. That's a good movie. It's really good. James Arnold says Spiral Zone, like the cartoon, never saw them. Yeah, those toys were hard to come by, and by the time I saw them and I saw the cartoon, I was like, "This is cool, but not that cool." But it was, certainly there. James Silver says, "Even though I'm a collector, I still used a bunch of the '90s Toy Biz figs as pistol targets." Fair enough. Fair enough. Metal Neanderthal says, "For me, MCU is a classic Marvel light." I agree with that. Films have their place, but classic comics are so much better. Unfair comparison. Yeah, completely different mediums. Exactly, they're two distinct entities, and I appreciate them both for what they are. So, I'm with you on that. And Weird Fantastic Toy Adventure says, "Gonna have to hit the hack soon. Got to work tomorrow." Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you for being here. We're almost done anyhow. Ian Sweetie says, 2:30 a.m. here, heading off. Good night, Chad. Good night, all. Good night, Ian. Thank you for being here. Jesse Hughes asks, which villains from a cartoon series or storyline actually pose a threat to the heroes? Ooh. I like that one. There's probably a couple. I would say that the Decepticons posed a valid threat to the Autobots most of the time. But a lot of the plans that Megatron had were good plans, but his henchmen often botched it or something like that. And certainly by the time the movie came around, they got really good at killing Autobots. So I would say that. Uh, let's see. I would say that. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know why my mind's drawing a blank, man. Uh, huh. I don't know. I think that one is pretty that's a good answer, but try to think of some other toy lines. Shit. Okay. In the Sky Commanders toy line, I think the villains had far more offensive capable weaponry when compared to the Sky Commanders themselves. And I think they pose a major threat to the heroes of that line because they just weren't as well armed. And plus a lot of sharp edges on the villain toys. They just swing by and like cut their cables and shit. It's pretty dark, but yeah. Oh, Master said was offering out some Spiral Zone. Yeah, it was James Salzberg. And he said he's gonna. Hi, hey, Ozzy. He says I saw Hellman Kills Friday, two friends. We did not like it. You didn't like it. You didn't like it. Oh man, we were having a blast watching that shit. But everyone's different, you know. Uh, a lot of it telegraphed. Like, it's a newer horror movie. It telegraphs a little bit. I enjoyed the shit out of it. I thought it was great. Um, Granted, I need to rewatch it, which I will. Um, just to kind of solidify things, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. But that doesn't mean you have to like it. It's okay. So coming back around to Melvor's question, which I thought was really cool, which was what toy line? Yes, Indy did have the punch sound effect. You're right, which is a baseball bat hitting leather. If you didn't know that. So what toy line did I want as a kid that I never got? I instinctively said Inhumanoids, talked about how I probably would have wanted to have, because I had a lot of toy lines I had like one or two figures from, but never had more. That amounted to nothing. Dune being an example, I had one or two figures from Dune, like, and for what? Like, Dune is not a kid's movie. I don't know why they got me that, or why I thought I needed it at the time. I have no idea. Um, hmm. Hmm. Oh, it's so easy. It flew right over my head, dude. So easy. It flew over my fucking head. Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark toys. I've told the story before. We're in Toys R Us, saw them on the shelf for clearance, almost everything for like dollars, pennies on the dollar. Would have knocked over an old lady for that stuff. Indiana Jones toys from the Kenner line. Boom. Final answer, and a damn good one if I say so myself. There you go. There you go. I've only seen a couple horror movies in the theaters, to be honest. I think that unless you've got a full crowd, it's not worth it. And even then, like I have memories of going to see Return of the Jedi in the theater on its first run. And Jaws 3 was in the thing next to it. We'd be in the middle of a quiet scene with people talking and stuff. And you'd hear boom, 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 boom. People screaming and all this shit. It really bothered me. So that might have put me off to watching horror movies in the theater. I did see Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight in the theater, and that was a fun watch in a crowded theater. That was fun. It was a fun movie. It's a really fun movie. James Halsberg said, took my oldest to see 13 Ghosts in Theater when she was 10. Still feel like a good dad. She's a horror fan to this day. That's a good movie. That's a really good horror movie to get him in on, because that's a it's graphic, but it's not like super gory, and there's a really happy ending to it for the most part. So I like that movie. That's a great movie. I have the Shout Factory Collector's Edition over there. I love that thing to death. Great movie. Good choice, and you are a good dad. Return of the Jedi saw in the theater with your parents, and then saw the prequels with your brother. Okay. Okay. So with the prequels, I had a ticket to see. I'd already purchased it to see episode 1 in the theater. And night of, a girl that I was after just walks up on me and says everything short of "you're going to get laid if you come with me right now." And she was true to her word. So I missed out on seeing episode 1 in the theater, and I got laid. I will say this: if that's not the best possible allegory for the Phantom Menace, I don't know what is. And my parents bought me the VHS sight unseen, and they got me like a collector's edition of it and stuff, which was cool. And I watched it with my dad, and we're like, "That's it? Okay, well, it's fine." Ozzy says, "Saw Freddy vs. Jason opening night. Was so pissed at the ending. Yelled shenanigans. Now love Freddy vs. Jason. It's a good movie." Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. Saw Leprechaun in the movie theater when it first came out, but it was like MSC3K in there. Yeah, oh for sure. Oh for sure. Was she a slave Leia? No, no, she wasn't a slave Leia. It was just a girl that I knew. Um, a tallish Italian lady. Very, very cute. Turned out to be darn near psychotic, but I won't tell that story right now. Not that night, but later on. It was weird. James Helsberg says, "Yeah, we rewatched 13 Ghosts last month. First time since we saw it. She's in Cali and I'm in PA with stream it." That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Good call. Fair enough. I mean, you know. Oh, dude, I got a history of making poor choices with ladies. Don't worry. I'm thankful for the one I have now. I'll tell you that much. James Hosmer said, "Both of my girls were on the cover of USA Today from TPM. We saw a few comments to this. Oh, Phantom Menace. Okay, I got you. Nice. That's awesome." Jim Largo says, "Favorite cult classic: Rocky Horror Picture Show, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Little Shop of Horrors, something else." Um, Definitely something else. I don't like the Rocky Horror Picture Show at all. I think it's annoying and overrated. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, I really enjoyed, but I don't have a reverence for it. Like its quality. Little Shop of Horrors, again, I enjoy it for what it is, but I don't have the reverence for it that others do. When it comes to cult movies, I would say like some things that wouldn't even necessarily be cult movies, like a movie that I fly the flag for really, really hard, that you never hear anyone talk about, is Dead Heat with Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo. Great buddy cop zombie film. Not gonna say anything else if you haven't seen it, but go see that. Dead Heat, Joe Piscopo, Treat Williams. Also, and although I've seen it featured on a few internet shows in the last couple of years, I even did a feature on it in 2012. It's a Canadian film called The Vindicator. I, I had a ton of fun with that movie. That's one of my favorites. But more to your point, uh, I'm thinking like a horror movie. that's like kind of out there, but not like so out there. Uh Dead Alive, Brain Dead, Dead Alive, Brain Dead, which criminally is not on Blu-ray, but in terms of a true cult movie, Reanimator. There you go. That's probably my favorite cult movie, Reanimator. I agree, Tim. Psychotic would put me anywhere near anyone's genital. That's for sure. Plan 9 from Outer Space. There you go. Night of the Creeps. Good choice. Shock Treatment. All right. Gordon Duncan says, "You know what sucks when you have only have one yearbook and they misspelled your name. Worst part was my English teacher was in charge of one doing it. Ah, it's awful. It's awful." Bjorn Jorgensen asked if any video games influence your musical taste. Yes, actually. The original Ninja Gaiden from 1989 had a very rock metal oriented soundtrack. But I was already getting into metal by that point, so it was kind of like right in there. But it was definitely a big part of it. And it helped me, like, they have a sound test in that game and helped me play around with like music and sound effects and get kind of a feel for composition and stuff. So yeah, Ninja Gaiden from '89, definitely a huge influence for sure. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, definitely fun. And Ozzy Rule says, favorite movie of all time, most books of B movies, Trick or Treat from '86. Yes, cameos from Ozzy and Gene Simmons. Good flick. Good flick, for sure. There are very few slasher flicks that I don't get some kind of a kick out of. But I there were certain ones that I watched and some I didn't. I guess like some people would still consider Toxic Avenger a cult movie, even though it's gotten bigger as time has gone on. Um, there's a long list of movies like that. Okay. All right. Two more questions, and doesn't matter how many are in there. I'm only going to pick two. If you have any more questions, throw them in chat. I'm going to pick two, and then we're done. Then I got to put my toys away. Then I got to put my toys away. Sounds weird. Nice try, Ozzy, but no, I'm not answering this one. It's good. It's a good joke, though. I see you. I see you. I see you. Oh, and while we're waiting on that, if you haven't, go out and buy Matt Harvey's Last Son of Krypton. Buy that. Termago asks, who has more fun, drummers or bassists? Based on how my bassist looked in on life, I would say I have way more fun than he does, and that's been true of almost every band I've ever been in. So I got to say, without tooting my own horn, drummers by a lot. There's a secret Kiss level in Tony Hawk's Underground one. I didn't know that. Weren't they like developing that pinball game and that at the same time, so they had the assets or something? I think there was some connection there. Jesse is great. Before we go, reminder to set a reminder. Remember to set a reminder for tomorrow's stream with Chris Miwa. Yes, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. When we're talking about music and in pop culture. So we're covering the gamut. We're going to cover video games. We're going to cover toys and cartoons and movies and actual music from the 70s, 80s, and 90s kind of a thing. And I'm going to try and get Chris to talk about metal. I don't know how into metal he is. We're going to try. We're going to try. We're going to try. And I see another question I want to answer. So here's the last question of the night. Gaming Toy Boy says, what video game world would you like to spend some time in? Huh. For retro games, I would want to say Ninja Gaiden, but that's so damn dangerous. No. Super Mario Brothers, no thank you. Honestly, it's a bit of a cop out, but I'm going to say Destiny. I play the game Destiny. I have a lot of really good experiences playing that game with people, it'd be kind of cool to be able to inhabit that world and meet the characters face to face and like have a drink with them and stuff. That would be cool. That'd be really cool for sure. Melvor says high rule for him. Res is it's gonna be Deus Ex for you, dude. Yeah, of course, it's gonna be fucking Deus Ex. And I don't blame you all that like the fantasy stuff like Zelda and stuff like that. That's cool. I just was not a huge Zelda guy back in the day. I like them now, but I it wasn't something that really captured my imagination at the time. So, in any case, may all your grinds be merry, may your card backs be unwrinkled, may be able to find anything you're looking for at any given time at a reasonable price. I thank you all for showing up and making my evening really, 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 really fun. I want to thank everybody's grandpa. I want to thank everyone's kids, all of their pets. That's all I got. I wish you the best. We'll see you tomorrow night, the Chris Miwa stream, music and pop culture. See you guys later. I love you guys. Cheers.